So I pulled these Bose 401s out of here. I bought these in 2019. They were $20 a speaker. They go up and they sound really good, but they get to a certain point where you can tell you're about to start overdriving them. I think it's the speakers, not the amplifier, but I'll have to do some testing later on. But if it's the speakers, I'm for sure going to sell them soon. Either I got other ones I'd rather listen to. They say they will handle 200 watts. I find that really hard to believe. This thing off here should have peeled it off there. I like to leave the stickers on stuff so that I can remember for my references like what I paid for them. But these are interesting because they have two speakers, one there and there, and they do sound really good, but they're very particular about where you place them. They're 6.5 inch, and they've got that clear through in the center, which I'm not really sure. And then we have these ones here. They use the same driver. I don't know if it's the same tweeter. One of these kind of rattles because the glue is broken loose, probably just from heat. These I think are supposed to face on their side, or I guess however you want to put them, maybe like that. Anyway, they're ported. So I'm going to compare these to those other ones and just see how well they do. So these go up a little bit higher, probably because the impedance is different, but that one starts to pop before that one starts to pop, and it starts to like overextend is what it is on the bass. And I don't try and do it on purpose, but anyway, they do go pretty loud. My ears kind of feel a little funky right now. Anyway, yeah, and I'm only getting this thing up to the 21 or 18, which is the negative dB, according to this knob, which is probably pretty accurate for these old Yamahas. I had it on auto class A. It gets pretty warm. Turned it off of that. I don't know, maybe the popping is the amplifier distorting, because it seemed like that channel went a lot further before it started to sound like crap. So it's possible it needs new capacitors. It's kind of what the Marantz does when you turn it up, but anyway. So we're going to try a couple of other speakers. We're going through speakers today because my plan is sell them and give them away, whatever I need to do, get them out of here, or put them somewhere else where they're not in my way. I want speakers where I can turn this thing up insanely loud to where it's so damn loud it's unpleasant to listen to. I want that kind of headroom to where you can literally do that and not blow the speakers and not blow the stereo and have enough power to do that. So anyway, we're going to try a couple more. So this should be common sense. You want to remove these without leaving a bunch of crap on here. Just heat it up. Alright. Now sometimes I'll take them and peel them off and put them somewhere else, so I know what I paid for them. But I'm probably going to sell these, so I'm not going to leave it there. One of the grills is in good shape and the other one's not. I'll probably just sell these as is. I couldn't actually get them to make the funny noise that they were making before. Here's another thing I need to test later today. So we're just setting these out here. You can see the similar ideas in design here. I wish they would have made these a little nicer instead of using all this crap ass vinyl. I've got these other, these are Pioneers. They're newer. I don't want to drive these ones hard, even though they probably can go harder than any of them. I got some really crappy Kenwoods in the house. I might put those to the test. I already pulled the RTRs out of here that were back here because I know that they can't go very high. The woofers can't handle it. These are made out of MDF. Some of the older ones are made out of particle board. MDF is definitely better. These claim 160 watts. The problem with the Bose is they might be anywhere between 4 and 8 ohms on the 401s. I don't know about the 2.2s. So the amplifier will almost double its power at 4 ohms. So anyway, as long as it's capable. If I'm going to run these, somebody put green felt on the bottom of these. These came from Goodwill. I think they were about $9 a piece. Okay, so they were $24 for 2. And then you had 20% off of that, so you would get $4.80 off of that. So you pay $19 and like 48 cents. So yeah, they were 20 bucks for both. That's not bad. Now I don't mind these kind of connectors. I've never had anything that was so high power that was a problem. The only thing that kind of sucks about these is they can break. But I've never had an electrical issue with them. They all seem to work fine. And are quicker and easier to use than binding posts. But I understand that they're regarded as cheap and that most high-end speakers don't use these. So this is the Pioneers. We can pull the grill off of them. If I remember, they're kind of hard to get off. I've had a pair of these before. They all act like the tweeters don't work. Maybe they don't. I physically cannot hear anything come out of them at all. But when I put an ohm meter on them, I measure a normal impedance. When I put an oscilloscope on the wires going to them, I measure a signal. This is the second pair I've had that act like that. The first pair I never tested, and I thought it was just bad, so I returned them. But they, I believe they do go pretty loud. I can't remember. They look nice without the covers. They look nice with the covers. You know, there's something that you would have bought at Best Buy recently in the last 20 years. So, yeah, those go really loud. I can't hear shit. It does start to fizzle out around that point. And these definitely handle a lot more power. Definitely more power. I really don't think the Bose sound any better than these. I gave you guys a little quick clip of it, just like, I think I had it at like probably negative 21 dB. But anyway, I pushed them kind of hard where you could hear the distortion. They weren't like popping or doing anything weird. So I don't know if that's a artifact of the other speakers and things like that. I don't have any speakers that I have ever had brand new. So, you know, like everything that I'm using is donated, and people, you know, turn these speakers up and they kind of damage them, you know, and they might sound fine at low volume. So then you could end up blaming the Marantz or some other stereo. You say, well, it's something wrong with the stereo, when really it's your thrift store speakers that have been damaged by, you know, being pushed too hard. Other problem about, you know, 30-watt stereos is they've usually been pushed to their max. So I personally think if you can always get a 100-watt one, but I mean, we're talking vintage stuff, so that's a whole other can of worms. But with newer stuff, you wouldn't want a 30-watt stereo. They don't even make them anymore. But their ratings are also differently. You know, they used to call it WPC, watts per channel, which is not like, I don't know if it was average or RMS or what it was, but anyway, these definitely went halfway on this thing. And I don't know, I've never had any other speakers that probably could do that. And these are rated 160 watts. I think the Bose were supposedly rated 200, but you know, they're old, they've been used, they've been abused, and I know these are newer. So that might account for that. Also, you know, you start pushing some power through the crossovers and stuff, you know, who knows. So anyway, I would be really surprised if I could pull these shitty-ass Kenwoods out here from the 80s and get better results. But we'll try that next. Alright, so for my next trick, it's going to be these ones. They said they're rated at 120 watts. We'll find out. They actually were made in the USA. Shipping company stuff. They were half of that price. They were 50% off. They're actually not in terrible shape for their age. I gotta listen to the neighbors, and they're gonna have to listen to me in a second. They do have one redeeming quality. They're not using crappy foam. So we'll see. Too bad I can't actually like play music. I had downloaded some what they call copyright free music, and it ended up being copyrighted. The website that was hosting it was lying. Okay, so we got to get these out of here. I think these will be our go-to speakers from what I can tell. Just because they can handle the power. I don't care if the Bose speakers sound better. I want to turn them up and I can't, then that's stupid. Kind of like the Marantz. Can't turn it up. It's got no balls. Damn, these fuckers are huge. Another thing I like to do if I get a chance is I just throw a little glue in there. Just try and make it go back. I'll take like something like this and just toothpick or whatever I can find on the ground stick wise. Just get a little bit of glue in there. Just push it. Then I'll go get some tape. I'll put the tape on there. It just takes a second to do this, really. If you use water-soluble glue, you can clean up the mess after. Just put some painter tape on it. You can even take an old Goodwill price tag and put it on there. This stuff dries pretty quick. This stuff. I like this because it's not waterproof. It's interior use. But you shouldn't be putting these outside anyway. Let's see if we get this other one to hold. Nope. Anyway, good enough. I'm going to put these in and blast them. Alright, let's get these beasts fired up. I try and catch a picture of it, throwing these in and out for a quick second. So this one sounds really, really bad. And I had to check this one separately. They got to about, I don't know, 21. They sounded really good at first, and then they started to sound bad real quick. Alright, so they start to distort pretty easily. I think the crossovers are trash in them, to be honest. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. So anyway, yeah. Not much use for these damn things. So all I have left now to test would be these. You know, I have 100-watt monitors over here. Yeah, they're 100-watt monitors. But they only have 5-inch drivers. I'm sure they're very loud, though. I could just put monitors out here and be done. Anyway, let me get these out of here, and we'll see what we'll do next. I'm going to try and experiment just to roll this thing out. These should be able to... They're big, huge-ass speakers. They should be able to handle the power just because of the size. Not because of, like, the quality or anything like that. But, I mean, they're usually... You can tell they're power-hungry. Anyway, I think this thing, because there's an issue between... in the balance kind of being a little funky. I know it dims the lights when I turn it on. I want to try a different stereo. We're going to use this Sherwood Insignia 100-watt per channel actual like music stereo. I've got the Sonys also. I know those don't have any problems. So we'll try this just because it's sitting here. So, God, I wish you guys could hear what I'm hearing. You know, I mean, it's just I cannot share it on here because of the way YouTube is. All right, we got the $2 Insignia. So they overpriced this at one of the other stores. Nobody bought it. 50% off, nobody bought it because 50% off would have been a lot for something that was sold at Best Buy. Might not have even been, I don't know, it might have been $89 when they were new. 125, somewhere around there. Feels a little cheap. And also probably people plugged it in, they're like, won't turn on. So you have to push the standby. And then you have to push the standby again. So on this one, 62 is max. I think I got it all the way up to 52. I also tried to do something else where you let me turn it all the way down. Switch to B. You go A and B. Well, I had it just B and turned it up. It actually shut down. It protected itself. Okay, I can't hear anything. Only went up to 42. We're using almost all of what stereo can do. I would say the Yamaha probably needs capacitors. I think there's a certain amount of power supply issue that might be manifesting in the distortion. This is a lot newer. This thing, I don't know how old it is, but 2002, 2003, somewhere around that, maybe even newer. So, still old. But unfortunately, it's kind of like from my time period, of my heyday. When I look at it, I don't think it's old, but other people would think it was old who weren't even born then, you know. If this thing came out in 2004, you know, that was 21 years ago. There's plenty of people that could be watching this video right now that weren't even born when this thing was made, let alone something like that. In fact, I think this one, no, actually, this one is a year younger than me. So anyway, but I think that, you know, with the age of the things of the capacitors, I mean, this could have bad capacitors too. I've seen ham radios that were not even that old that had problems. So, I don't know, you know, things that age, and, you know, you got to take all that into account. But they sounded better on here than it did on the Yamaha. So it means that I may have wasted a whole lot of time testing things on this. So I'm pretty certain that this needs capacitors. I'm pretty certain that this needs capacitors. They still function, but they need capacitors to do their fullest potential. So these will go plenty loud, but they're not amazing. They're not horrible either. I do have some other speakers. I have to figure out how to get them out from behind here. There's Sony towers. Actually, another one right here. These are probably part of a hi-fi system from the early 2000s or something. And they're rated at 150 watts. I also have these ones which look really cheap, but are almost absolutely identical and sound similar. There are lots of interesting, cheap speakers that you can find at a thrift store if you don't care about how they look, that actually really do sound good. These sound really good. I have them on this Pioneer over here that actually has Bluetooth on it. But yeah, let's see if we can pull the covers off. They use the same type of driver that's on the towers. They just have a plastic face. So anyway, they sound good. They really do. Now, I really only owned a few speakers that really were impressive, or, you know, didn't seem to have problems or issues. So, but I've owned a lot of these cheap Kenwoods. That's why I buy them. That actually sounded really good. These ones don't, but some of the cheap 80s, 90s veneer, large, multiple speaker Kenwoods where, you know, you see, and they'll have like JBLs like this too. And there'd be like two woofers and a mid and a corner horn. I mean, that's, you know, good stuff there. You should see what these damn things look like with the covers off. We'll have to put those up there here in a minute. It's too bad that I can't switch all this stuff back and forth very quickly. It takes a long time to do it. So the Sonys actually don't look half bad. You take the covers off of them, and they've got beautiful rubber. Nice and pliable. It's got this kind of laminated crap on here. You can see they're splitting and things like that. I don't know how old these are. They're probably old. But I know they sound good. And I don't know why I don't have them hooked up, to be honest with you. Okay, my ears are doing not so well. These will handle all the power you throw at them. You'll get to the top of the amplifier. And, of course, you know, you aren't going to be able to turn these all the way up. But, yeah, so you're using, like, say, 80% of the amplifier, and they're not distorting, so they definitely handle the power. They're a little bit too much trouble, but they definitely handle the power. You could use another right here. I think that would make a big difference, but it is what it is. So anyway, yeah, these aren't too bad. So that's going to be it for me. I've got a couple of other ones I can test, but these here, I'm not going to push these. I'll do another video on these later on. Thanks for watching, guys.